All right, welcome to Hands-on Equation Lesson 3. This is Level 1, Lesson 3. You should have watched the two previous videos before watching this one. In Lesson 3, we are going to learn a move that we call a legal move in hands-on equations, and the legal move is only used with the pawns in this lesson. And the legal move is we may remove the same number of blue pawns from both sides of a balanced equation, and that's called the subtraction property of equality. Students in this lesson will learn an easier way to solve than using the trial error method that we used in lesson 1 and 2. To participate in the lesson, you need 8 blue pawns and the 4 number cubes from your bag, and then a laminated number scale as well. So here is the first problem that we'll get set up. And the first problem is 4x plus 2 equals 3x plus 9. And we have to first set up our board. So we have 4x, which means we have 4 blue pawns, because the blue pawns mean that there's an x there. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have a plus 2 there, so we have to add our 2 number cube there as well. So here's the plus 2, or here's our number cube, and then I'll change it to 2. So the left side of our equation says 4x plus 2 more. On the other side, we have 3x plus 9, which means we have 3 blue pawns on the right, and then a number 9 cube as well. So here's a cube, and I'll change it to number 9. And this should be all facing the ceiling from your board. So what we used to do is the guess and check method, where we would pick numbers and add and count them together to try to get a balanced equation. But our new method is that we can remove pawns if there's a pawn on each side. So what I would do is, since I have a pawn here and a pawn here, I could take those and remove them from my scale, and since they're the same thing, my scale would remain balanced. So now I still have blue pawns on both sides, so I can remove another set of pawns, one from the left and one from the right. And since I still have a blue pawn on each side, I could remove one more from each side. So there's one there and one there. And now I have no more blue pawns left on this side, so I can't remove any more blue pawns. So now I can use my guess and check method to solve it, or I might just know something plus 2 has to equal 9. And I know that 7 plus 2 equals 9, so I know that my pawn x is going to equal 7. So I'll put that on my paper as x equals 7. And then I need to check my work. So when I check my work, I have to bring all of my blue pawns that I've taken off and put them back on my scale. And then I'm going to replace each blue pawn with the number 7 when I'm counting. So I have 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 7 more is 21, plus 7 more is 28, and then 28 plus 2 is 30. When I look at the other side, I have 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 7 more is 21, and 21 plus the 9 cube equals 30. So for my check, I would have 30 equals 30. And since these are the same numbers, I can move my check mark above the equal sign to show that I checked my work and these two numbers are equal. And I have a balanced scale when my x, or my pawn value, is equal to 7. We're going to do 2 more examples together before you start working on your worksheet. So I will move on to the next one. And the next one is 5x plus 2 equals 2x plus 14. So I would pause the video now if I were you and set up your board to make sure that you set it up, or that you know how to set it up correctly. Well, I set it up here. So 5x is on the left, which means I have 5 blue pawns. And then the number 2 cube. don't have much space. And on the left side, I have 2x plus 14. So I'll put a 2x there. So 2 pawns. And then the 14. And we don't have a 14 cube. So to make a 14 cube, I can put a 10 cube, and I could put a 4 cube next to it because 10 plus 4 equals 14. Now I'm going to use the method that I used earlier, which is removing blue pawns from both sides. So I have 2 blue pawns here, and I have 5 blue pawns here, which means I can remove 2 pawns from each side, and it would stay balanced. So I'll remove 1 from the right, and then move 1 from the left, and then I'll move another one from the right, and then another one from the left. And then I have no more blue pawns here to use, so now I have to use my guess and check method to solve the rest of the equation. So I have 3x plus 2 has to equal 14. So I have to figure out what number equals x. So I'm going to use the guess and check method. You might be able to figure it out without using the guess and check method, but I'm going to use that. So I'm going to start with 1. And 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. Plus 2 more is 5. That does not equal 14. Now I'm going to move to 2. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6, plus 2 more is 8, and that does not equal 14. I'll move on to 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. That still does not equal 14, but I'm getting closer. Then I'm going to use 4. 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14, and 14 does equal 14, so I know each blue pawn equals 4. So I'd put on my worksheet that x equals 4, and then I move all my pawns back up to my equation. I don't have much room. And I'm going to check my work by changing all of the blue pawns to the number 4. So here I have 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. 16 plus 4 is 20. And 20 plus 2 is 22. So my left side equals 22. And we have to see if that equals the right side, which is 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 10 is 18. 18 plus 4 is 22. So my check is correct. I have 22 equals 22. And I could move my check mark above the equal sign to show that I checked my work and that I did my math correctly. We have one more before you're going to work on the worksheet. And this one is 2x plus 4 equals 4x plus 1. So when you can pause the video now and you can set up your board to make sure that you know how to set the board correctly. And I'll set them up. So 2x goes up first, plus 1 more x, plus 4. And on the right side, I have 4x plus 1. So I move my 4 pawns up first. And then a number 1 cube because it's plus 1. So the left side of my equation has 3 blue pawns and the number 4 cube. My right side has 4 blue pawns and a number 1 cube. And now I need to use my new legal move, and I have 3 pawns here and 4 pawns here. So I know I can remove pawns from both sides. So I'm going to remove 1 from the left and 1 from the right, 1 from the left, 1 from the right, 1 from the left, and 1 from the right. And I have no more pawns on the left, and I have 1 pawn left on the right. So I know that something plus 1 has to equal 4. And I don't really need to use my guess and check for this one because I know that 3 plus 1 equals 4. So my x value is 3. And then to check my work, I need to bring my pawns back up. And then these pawns back up. So now my equation is back like the one that's on my paper. And now I need to check my work. So if I have 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 more is 9, 9 plus 4 is 13. So I have 13, and I have to see if the other side is equal. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 more is 9, plus 3 more is 12, plus 1 is 13. So I have 13 equals 13, and since those two numbers are equal, I could put my check mark above the x. So this was lesson 3 of hands-on equations, and you will now have a worksheet to work on. And if you have any questions, you can write them below or ask me. And then we'll move on to lesson 4 next. So thank you. Bye.